here we are back again with our nap time baking is what I'm calling it. I am going to start the dough for the pastry crust for the homemade frosted brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts. If you don't like brown sugar and cinnamon, then I don't know, you should try again. But if you have tried again and you don't like it, then you could do like strawberry jam or blueberry jam or whatever you have in your cabinet in place of the brown sugar and cinnamon in the middle, and that will work. So I'm going to show this. These work great in the freezer. I'm actually going to make this pastry and then I won't be back for several days to actually roll it out. The pastry fits, goes fine in the refrigerator for about 5 days, so I'm just going to do that and then I'm ready to roll it out when I get the chance. So here we go. I'm going to use all-purpose flour, and I have chilled butter. I have 3 ounces of chilled butter, and just like for another recipe, I cut it up into cubes like this, and then this is actually just straight from the freezer. That works. Or you could take it straight from the freezer and grate it with a cheese grater. I'm going to get my shortening out of the fridge. And then I have, like I said, all-purpose flour, I have some salt, and I have butter and shortening. And that's all I need besides water. This is basically making a pie crust. So this week you only make 2 things. You make a Pop-Tart and a pie. And your pie, when I talk about it, I'll show you different ways you can do it. So butter goes in. And I'm going to use my pastry blender and cut this in. My pastry blender tends to bend when I put it in. It's not the highest quality. If you have knives, that'll work. If you have to use your hands, use your hands. You just might have to chill yours sooner than what I'm going to chill mine. Or you could go back to using your trusty little food processor, or if you have a Ninja blender like I showed mine, that will work also. That's how I made my cheddar cheese coins, and they came together in almost no time. So that'll work too. You just need to break this up. We're going for more like a mealy crust here, kind of in between mealy and flaky, I guess. Not mealy because we don't have any like really liquidy ingredients, but somewhere in between. We do want these to be flaky, of course, and these are awesome, by the way. They're so good. I considered not making them and using an old video I had, and then I realized my family really loves these, so back to quarantine baking it is. And then I'm also going to use shortening. We use a mixture of butter and shortening here, because if you guys remember from baking 1, shortening, I mean, take a taste if you want to. Shortening tastes like basically nothing, right? It's just greasy in your mouth. So, but it's 100% fat, so it makes things nice and flaky. So instead of using all shortening, we use some butter so that we have some flavor from butter, but not all butter because the butter melts. Chilled shortening. I don't keep my shortening chilled, I just keep it in the cupboard. So I put this in the fridge because I thought about it. If you didn't think about it sooner, just put it in your freezer for a little bit. Put that in the freezer first, measure out the other ingredients, and then your shortening will probably be ready for you. Okay, so this looks like this at this point. It is broken up, but there are still some pretty big chunks that I need to get out of there. Still have some kind of, I would say, good sized chunks in there. Guys, I forgot the salt. If anybody has any younger siblings, you might recognize the sounds of, is that Lexia, Owen? Dreambox. And there's a character called Cat Kelly that makes me laugh really hard. If anybody's been watching Tiger King, it makes me laugh even harder because of that. It makes my son and I laugh really hard. Kind of look big still. And that's also because like some of the chunks just aren't going to go away because they're mixing with the flour. So it's not just chunks of fat anymore. It's mixed with the flour. So I'm comfortable with that. So I'm going to stir in. And when I do this, I'm just going to hold the ice and like drizzle in the water and stir. Now, one year, my students really learned the hard way. I will in just a minute, buddy. One year, my students really learned the hard way because I always stressed, don't add too much water. So they were really careful about not adding too much water. And so they didn't add too much water. We were actually doing pies for a bake sale, and we made like 80 pies and 80 pie crusts one day with the idea that the next day we would, roll them out and stuff them. But that didn't work because they didn't have enough water in it. So once they started rolling them out, it was like just crumbs on the counter. So when you're making pie crust, the step that they kind of forgot, because we were in a hurry too, is to like take it and press it together. Make sure it's actually gonna form a dough ball, because if it doesn't, then you're not gonna have pie. So I still have some dry spots in there, so I'm not gonna put any more water in there right now. I'm gonna make sure that I have enough. I'm just gonna get a little bit more flour and sprinkle my board with it. And then we don't need pie dough. We do make sure it comes together though, right? Because we want to develop enough gluten to make sure it's come together, which happens in the stirring too. But what I'm basically gonna do is just toss it here a few times. I can tell it's flaky because do you see how the edges are kind of coming apart a little bit? To me, that's showing me that it's a nice flaky pie crust, but that it's strong enough to stay together. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is take this and I'm gonna weigh it because that's the easiest way to make sure that I actually cut it in half. You can just estimate if you don't have a scale. So I always put it in grams because I think it's easier. 614 grams, so 307 is what I'm gonna cut and weigh. Let's see how close I can go on the first try. Nope, 286. Wow, only took 2 tries. So now I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna form like a disc. Now the reason that I form a disc is because this is just gonna chill, because next I'm gonna put this in the fridge and the butter's gonna get hard. So this is just gonna chill. So I wanna go ahead and form it into a disc so it's easier to roll. So you can see the layers in this, just like when we made biscuits. So the fat is like rolled into this, into layers. There's a couple of bigger chunks there. That's a good thing. That means it's gonna be flaky. So I'm just gonna kind of press this down into a disc too. And then these two are gonna get individually wrapped, stacked together, labeled if you're gonna put them somewhere where other people might want to do something with them. And then I'm gonna put them in my fridge. Like I said, fridge for up to like 5 days. Freezer for longer, at least a month, probably about 3 months that you can put them in the freezer. So these pie crusts are gonna go in there. If I wanted to, I could make pie out of them. They'll make great pie crust. Like I said, I'm going to make Pop-Tarts out of them. Okay, so my dough has been in the fridge for a little bit, and now I'm gonna take this. So remember, up to 5 days in your fridge, or you could have put it in the freezer. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna roll it out into about 9 by 12. And then I am going to get the other one. So once I get that 9 by 12, I'm gonna cut it into rectangles. Then I'm gonna grab the other one and I'm gonna do the same. Remember, you want it to stay cold. If you have like a countertop that keeps things cool, that's great. I mean, if you have like a marble slab or something, that's awesome. I don't have that. But I'm gonna put that on there. You can see the chilled fat throughout here. I'm gonna roll this out to about 9 by 12, and then I'm going to cut it, put it on my pan, and then I'm gonna do the other one and put it on another pan. And then I am going to do the egg and milk glaze, the filling, and then I'm going to put them together. And I will take a fork around the edges to seal them, and then put holes in the top. Remember, we want to put holes in the top so that the steam can escape, so the pastry doesn't bubble, just like you did with docking your pie crust and baking one. And then I will bake them. What I'm going to do though is freeze them. I'll show you that in a little bit. I'm just going to stick them in the freezer because we don't need them for a few more days still. So I'm going to stick them in the freezer, and then I will actually bake them from frozen. Happy accident, I figured out that they actually work even better from frozen because the butter's really cold and they are even flakier. So I am going to get started with that. Okay, now we're at the point where these I wound up freezing and I just froze them right on the pan like this. I wrapped them tightly with saran wrap and then aluminum foil, and I fortunately had enough room in my freezer. You can tell that I was kind of doing the quick version, imperfect version of these. My family is fine with that. You want to show them? Yeah. Say Pop-Tart. Pop-Tart. So today it's kind of chilly still, cool outside, so I'm making chili. I have chili in the crock pot behind me, and if you've had chili and cinnamon rolls before together, it's really good. So we're gonna have chili and cinnamon Pop-Tarts today. Oh, what's your name? What's your name? Who are you? You want that? It's not cooked yet. We have to cook it. What's your name?
Davis.
That's Davis. He's gonna help. Okay. Help me. Look, get your brush. So what we're going to do is brush these with egg wash. And remember, I did already do the little holes in each of the pastries. Egg wash is going to give it a nice golden brown on top. Yeah, this is Davis, and he turned 2 in February, so he's just a little over 2. And he wants to help with everything. You like to help?
Yeah.
Are we getting egg all over?
Yeah.
Yep. When I got out a brush, he decided that he really wanted to brush also. So I'm just going to do this. Like I said, they're actually really great out of the freezer. We did that by accident one time. I was teaching an adult class on how to make these, so I made them a lot prettier because it was, like school in a kitchen, not at home. But I was teaching an adult class on how to make these. You did them? Can you do a little bit more on that one? Yeah. And one of the groups got the freezer and refrigerator confused. Uh-oh, we don't want to spill it. So they accidentally put theirs in the freezer overnight, and the plan was for me to bake them in the morning before they got there so they'd have them for breakfast. Oh my, yep, we're getting egg all over. It's like painting with a kid. Just painting with eggs. So anyway, they accidentally put theirs in the freezer. There you go, right over here. Can you put it right here? And I just baked theirs from the freezer because I didn't have time to let them thaw out first. And they were even better than everybody else's because they got even flakier because the fat was so cold. So, okay. A little bit more on that one? Okay. I'll take the paint and you do the paintbrush, okay? Okay, so we're going to pop these in the oven while they bake at 350 for about 22 to 28 minutes depending on your oven. Yep, you can have it in just a second. We'll finish, okay? Look there first. And then they're going to be golden brown, and I'm going to make the glaze. And then I like to make these ahead of time enough for the glaze to kind of harden like regular Pop-Tarts. But you can reheat them, and they're good also. So that's it. Can you say bye?
Bye.
I see ya.